How you doing, everyone? It's Kevin. I'm back with another video. Today I'm going to be building a sheath for the chef's knife. Should be a pretty fun project, so let's see how it goes. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a couple pieces of paper put together here. I needed some longer paper, but I just don't have it. But we need to kind of build this sheath out of paper first. So I normally try to leave about 1/4 of an inch, maybe 3/16 around the edge. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to try to just get a rough guesstimate of where this knife is going to lay. We don't want it to be too tight in there where it's not, you know, if it's too tight, you're not going to get your knife in and out, your blade in and out of there. So I'm going to get to cutting on this, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so we just laid our knife down in there. I really didn't get that knife that straight on there, but to give me an idea of where it's going to set in there. I measured the blade on the knife, and it's 2 inches. So what I've done is between the blade and the edge of the sheath, I left 5/16 of an inch on both sides. So I know that that blade will have enough room to get inside that sheath and not be too tight. I think that's going to work out okay. So I just marked that paper all the way down. It's kind of hard to see with my little setup here, but I'm just going to go ahead and cut this paper. And I think that's going to work pretty good. Because I could actually, if I needed to, I could bring it down a little more, but I don't think I need to. I think that's going to work out pretty good. And then we'll be doing a little bit of carving in here, taking some of this material out, and maybe just a little bit, maybe a little bit over here, but not much, because that blade is almost straight with the knife when you look at it. So it may end up just staying on there. Might be doing a little something to it, but not much. So I think what we can do, we get this done, and we'll figure out where the top, this piece here is going to go. So we're going to cut another piece of this paper because we're going to need an outside piece of leather on here. And then we'll set it down on there, and then we have to cut one more. So there's actually 2 more pieces to this. So I'll get these marked out and cut, and then I'll get you guys right back in here. Okay, I marked this paper out with the 5/16 rim around it, and that's where it's going to be sewed and maybe riveted or whatever. Then I laid the knife down there, and I just kind of traced that blade because we want to make this curve in our sheath, and I want to try to make it look like it should. So I want to try to keep that blade about 1/8 inch from that mark that I made on there. About 1/8 inch over from this mark, say right in here somewhere, and then measure 5/16 and then bring it right on up around. And here is all the pieces that we're going to be using. I cut the long one, and I basically just traced out each one of these. I mean, this one here I got to cut off the bottom of it, but just basically traced them out and cut them out. That way we know we got just about what we need, not too much, and we got to make sure we have just enough. So alright, now we're going to go ahead, I'm going to get this kind of gathered up. We're going to get the curve cut in the bottom of all these for that knife. Okay, what I've done is I've been using this one as a pattern, and I just traced it on each one of the bottoms of these, and then we're just going to go ahead and start cutting these off. That way they're all the same. We want them all to be the same. We wouldn't want to use different patterns. So So basically all I'm going to do now is just sit here with a razor blade, and we're just going to chop these guys off, and then we'll have all of our the bottom pieces cut. It's best to have a good sharp razor blade and try to hold your knife straight up and down the best you can, and just work your way around it. Try to do them all the same. Okay, so this is how the knife is going to actually set in there. The blade is going to set in there like so. So what we need to do is we need just the outside edge of this piece here, about 3/16 of an inch. So we're going to measure down about 3/16 of an inch, and we're going to mark this, and we're going to mark it all the way around the best that we can, and we're going to cut this out because we only need the outside edge of this. Okay, as you can see, we just traced it out, and now all I'm going to do is cut it, and that's going to be the inside strip that's going to give us room for the blade to set in. Alright, so now we got this piece done. This piece will lay on top of this piece. So we can keep this piece of leather. This is actually big enough for a smaller knife. We could use that for the front on a smaller knife. So we won't discard this. We're going to keep this little piece. So now we're going to get to working on this piece. Whoa, that was pretty cool. This was actually my first basket weave, my first try at the basket weave. And I did do a video on this. I didn't do it in this video because it took me so long. So if you guys want to watch that, I'll have a link at the top of the page. You can go check out my first basket weave. So we're going to go ahead and get to working on this bottom piece here. I traced out my knife again, and I laid this down on here on our piece of leather, and we're going to go ahead and cut this out for our next step. Alright, before we bend this leather, I'm going to wet it. I learned this by trial and error here, because I bent one of them and it was really dry and it cracked it. So we don't want to crack our leather, so we're going to wet this really good where it needs to bend. All I'm going to do for this is I'm just going to lay the knife on there, and I want to try to get the knife, the little strap that's going to hold the knife in, right across this finger groove. So I'll make a little line about in the center of where I want it to go. Now what I've done here is the piece that we cut off the side of here, I'm going to use this piece to make the strap for the handle. Alright, I just punched a couple holes in there to keep this from ripping. We'll try to get our length on this so we could put our snap on there. Okay, what I've done here is I slid the piece back in there and just punched a hole in there. Now I'm going to put a rivet on there. And that's going to keep that piece from sliding in and out. But I'm not sure whether I should be putting this on what side I should be putting this on. So I think we're going to go ahead and leave it like that way. It's nice and smooth. If that was up against my knife, I don't think it'd hurt it. So we just put it in like that. I think it'll be okay. So now we're going to put the 2 snaps on it now. So now I'm going to work on folding this thing under and getting it attached in the back here in the center. We're going to be putting a couple rivets in there, and then we're going to sew a little bit in the center. Okay, so I marked this where I want it to go there. I'm just going to get a little bit of this leather cement glue, whatever it is, and we're going to put some on here. This is going to help hold it while we stitch it and put our rivets in. Okay, we're going to let that set up a little bit, and then we'll get to stitching this a little bit here, but we're not going to put those rivets in until after we put our front on. We get it sewed. But I would like to sew a little bit right through here, just a small space, maybe 6 stitches or something right in there. Alright, I marked out where I want my stitches in here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to just drill these with a very small drill bit. I'm still not good with the awl, but yet we're going to do this with a drill bit. Okay, I just run the drill bit across there. Now I'll use my stitching wheel on those again. So this will help my stitches lay down inside that leather. So when we put our knife in there, hopefully it won't catch the stitches. They'll be down under the leather. Okay, we got our little vise out. I think this is going to work. I still don't like how I tighten it down here. I'm not crazy about that clamp to tighten it down, but it's working. So we went ahead and thread our needle. We're going to go ahead and start stitching this up. Okay, here's what our stitches look like. They're not really the greatest, but I think they're okay. Your knife's not going to hit them because they're below the surface. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start on the front of this thing. I'm just going to start off by taking just a little bit of sandpaper and rough this edge up just a little bit. We'll do the same thing with this piece. Okay, I'm just going to set that right down on top of there and glue it right into where it's supposed to go there. So we're just going to set this piece right down on top of here. Line it up best we can. Okay, I just went around the outside and drilled all the holes where the threads are going to go. Okay, we got our little stitching vise up here, and like I said, I'm still not really crazy about having to twist both of these things at the same time to tighten it down, but we'll figure something out. But we're going to go ahead and start stitching this guy and getting it done. We got all the holes drilled in there. They're a bit tight. So the holes are a bit tight, so I'm just going to use a pair of needle nose pliers to get these through here. Okay, now that we got all the threads in here sewed up, I'm going to put 2 rivets in here. I want one at the top of this corner and one in this corner right here. That's just going to help that thing from coming apart. Okay, I got the 2 rivets in there. I just set the knife in there to see how it would look, and it looks pretty good. So now I'm going to take this out here and clean this edge up on the belt sander. This edge right here. I'm going to clean that up on the belt sander. Alright, we got this all sanded down now, and it looks pretty good. What I'm thinking now is I went and picked up some of this medium brown. It's a gel antique. And this stuff is actually pretty cool stuff. It kind of makes it look like it's the leather's been around for a while. And I actually made this just the other day, just for the heck of it. A little coffee cup, you know, just a little coaster for my cup here on the table. And I bought some new stencils and I wanted to try them out, so that's what I kind of made there. But I actually put the brown on there, and that's the color. I kind of like that color, and I think it goes good with that black walnut on the handle. So I thought we would put that on our sheath. Now this little circle, I cut that out with a knife, and it's supposed to look antique. Well, it sure looks like someone don't know how to cut a circle either, but I think it looks pretty cool. I think it actually looks antique. So maybe I'll make one of these on video or something, because I have some different gel too. I have 2 different types of this gel, and I wanted to make 2 coasters, one with each color on it. That way I can compare them and see what color that I want to use. What I did is I just wrote on the back of this thing what it was. That way I'll know which color that is. So anyhow, I think that's the color we're going to put on the sheath. I think that's going to look pretty good on there. It's going to give it an old rustic kind of look, and with the leather that we used is not the greatest, and I think that's going to actually look pretty good on here. So that's what we're going to be doing next. Okay, I got the antique gel on there, and I was just trying to wipe a little bit off the surface. Kind of leaves it a little bit darker down in the grooves there. So this sheath looks like it's been around for a while. It don't look like it was just made. It actually looks like it's been around for a long time, which is pretty cool. I like that. So that is our sheath. Now the only thing I got yet to put on there is some sheen, and I'm gonna use the slicker on these edges here and get these nice and we'll take a little bit of that sheen over it to see how that just shines that edge up. Shines it up real nice. Okay, so now I'm going to apply some sheen to this. And this is going to give it just a little bit of a shine and to help protect it. Oop, I just spilt it too. I just spilt it. We'll daub it right up. We'll rub it into this thing. Alright, I cleaned that up okay. Now this is going to take maybe just a little bit of that color back out. Maybe just a little bit. It'll take a little bit of the color off. But it's going to be okay. It's going to kind of look like our little piece there. So now this sheath looks like it's about 100 years old, and it's been around for a while. It's sealed up good. We're gonna go ahead and I think we could put our knife in this thing. Okay, there's our sheath for our chef's knife, all finished up. And I think it looks pretty good. I think it turned out really nice actually, and it does look like it's been around a while, and we made it. So I would like to tell everybody thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe, leave me thumbs up, thumbs down, or a comment if you'd like. Till next time.